Hi friends, a very good afternoon to all of you. Once again, welcome to an interactive sessions from BYJU'S. Friends, I am Srinivas and I am here to discuss with you about the entrance criteria for various MBA exams. Now, what I had in mind actually was to talk about what does every college look at, what is the entry criteria, what is the percentile requirement, etc., etc. But then, over the last few sessions that I've been taking, I have been asked questions where it told me that students do not understand the basic structure of the criteria itself. I mean, everybody knows that there is an entrance exam and everybody knows that there is a GDPI, but people really don't understand what is the weightage. Actually, what are the steps that the institutes take in doing this calculation? So what I've decided is to break this entire program or this idea of letting you guys know about the various entrance procedures and college specific information into two parts. The first part is today where I'm going to talk about the MBA college process. So I'm going to explain to you the process in general that MBA colleges follow. Now, I will take up another session sometime in the next few days where I will stick to specific colleges, the top 20 colleges for MBA in the country, and I will talk about what is their specific criteria. So this session is all about understanding the idea behind the criteria. How do they do the calculations? And then the next session is about talking about specific colleges, right? So let's understand what is this criteria all about and why is it important to us? What could be the effect of this in your performance? Okay. Once again, Pranay Deshmukh, good afternoon. Guys, before we move on, if you like my videos and if you're interested in keeping yourself updated about the content that we provide to you, please click on this particular video as well as the bell icon. We have a lot of MBA related videos coming your way before your CAT exam. Okay, so the agenda for today's session is going to be, I'm going to talk about what is this particular. Yeah, so what are the stages in the admission process in general? I'm not talking about any specific college. In general, what are the stages? Then I'll explain to you each stage, what happens in each particular stage. Then I will talk about what can you do now till your exam. Apart from the preparing part for the exam, is there something that you can do that can give you an edge over the others? And what if you don't fit any of these criteria that we just discussed? How should you go about? Okay, so these are the things that we're going to talk about. Harsh and Samir, yes, thank you. Yes, Harsh, I'm not wearing BYJU'S t-shirt. So you've been following my sessions, I believe. Thanks for that, Harsh. I'm not wearing BYJU'S t-shirt because I have come to the office and usually I wear BYJU'S when I come specifically for the recording. So I'm in the office right now, so I'm wearing my normal semi-formal shirt. You can say that. Right, so good to know that you've been observing my videos and notice that today I'm not wearing my typical BYJU'S shirt. So good. Well, let's take a look at the selection criteria. So selection criteria I have divided into three types or three parts: pre-exam criteria, the exam itself, and the post-exam criteria. Right? So this is a nomenclature that I'm using. This is not what every college uses. This is something which I'm using so that you can understand what I'm talking or what I'm referring to very easily. So first is the pre-exam criteria. What is this pre-exam criteria? Let's spend a minute to try to understand this. This pre-exam criteria, it is just a validation, which means the answer is yes or no. There is no score that is required here. What is this yes or no answers that they look at? So it could be, the questions could be based on gender, it could be based on the stream you are from, the marks that you've got in your stream, or the work experience. For example, let us take the simplest case. Now, no MBA college says that only male or only female are allowed. But yes, there are certain bachelor's degree, not in MBA, but bachelor's, pure women college, right? So if you're born a male, obviously you can't apply there. But there are specific colleges where they say it is only for engineers. For example, you have one of the top colleges, NITI, for an MBA. It's rated in the top 20 for sure. In fact, in the top 12 or 13 for sure, without fail. However, this particular college somehow, for whatever reason, takes only engineers. So they don't worry about how much marks you've got or what did you score in engineering. They just say, are you an engineer? Then apply. Otherwise, please don't apply. It's as simple as that. In fact, a few years back, even IITs, the MBA for IITs also used to be that way, but they have opened it to the others. Okay. Similarly, marks. What is this criteria for marks? For example, they will not say that I'll give you this mark, or so basically what they say when they're looking at marks is your eligibility. Eligibility is, did you get 60% in your graduation, or did you get 60% in your 10th class and 12th class? So it is just if you cross the minimum requirement. So let's call this as threshold figures. So what are these threshold figures? If you cross these, then you are eligible. So these are the pre-exam criteria are eligibility requirements. Okay. So eligibility requirements basically says that, okay, if you meet this, then you can go ahead and write the exam. Otherwise, there's no point writing. Of course, you can always write the exam, but there's no point because you will not be eligible to get into this particular college, or you will not be eligible to write this particular exam at all. Or rather, if you write, once they look at your scorecards, they will realize that even if you got the best score possible, they will throw you out because you do not meet the eligibility requirements. So I'll give you an example. Let us say to get a call from a college like Ahmedabad, if they say that you need 50% score in your graduation and you got only 45%, you can go ahead and write your CAT exam because nobody is going to ask you for a certificate at the time of applying. You'll just have to mention what scores you got. And if you lie there and you say you got 50% and you went ahead, you wrote the CAT exam, let's say you're the topper, 100 percentile. But then you have to go to the interview, right? For various colleges. When you go to the interview, they will immediately look at and say that, look, you got 45, you mentioned 50. First thing is you have lied. Second thing is you are disqualified simply because you are not eligible. So this is basically what I'm talking about, eligibility. Certain colleges have, now I'm not saying that all colleges have this. Certain colleges have this pre-exam eligibility. Some colleges do not care about it. They say, okay, just come and write the exam score is what I'll be looking at. But certain other colleges say that, okay, I need a minimum 10th class score, I need a minimum 12th class score, I need a minimum graduation score, and if you are from so and so stream, only then apply. And such colleges, especially the stream based colleges, are, in fact, I can think of only NITI. That's the only college that I can remember which says that engineers only apply, others don't apply. There's no other college which says that. Okay. And then, of course, work experience. Now, work experience could also be a criteria, but again, you have different programs for an MBA. When you're talking about an MBA, you're talking about a 2-year program. You're also talking about a 1-year program. For 2-year program, work experience is not mandatory. People anywhere between 0 to 4 years, or worst case scenario, 5 years experience can go in. 5 years, very rare. In fact, you don't see too many 5-year work experience people in the 2-year program. But when you're talking about a 1-year executive program, your minimum criteria will be to have 4+ years. Without having 4 years, you are not eligible again. So these are your basic eligibility rules. Various colleges will have this, and some colleges might not have, some college might have. So you will have to take a look at, do you fit into this eligibility criteria? And usually this criteria will be very, very low. It's like saying that get 50%, 40%. So usually you will easily satisfy this eligibility criteria. That's not a problem for you. Okay. But yes, there are certain students who might have low scores in graduation. For example, if 60% is a requirement for being eligible into quite a few IIMs, let's say you got only 50% in your graduation. You might wonder, what should I do? Should I write CAT? Well, there are two things here. First, should you write CAT? If you don't fit the eligibility for, let's say, an example of graduation. Now remember, when you're talking about this eligibility, it depends from college to college. Some colleges will say 50%, some colleges will not have it all. For example, IIM Calcutta does not have a pre-eligibility requirement, whereas an IIM Bangalore might have this. Similarly, an MDA Gurgaon might not have this. All these colleges will anyway look at your CAT score. That is one. So it still makes sense to write CAT. Unless if there is a requirement for writing the CAT exam and that itself is, you're not meeting that. Second, not every MBA entrance exam will have this requirement. For example, fine, let us say to write CAT you have an eligibility. Let's say 60% is your eligibility. Now, which means writing CAT itself is a problem for you. Then what do? Ideally, then I would say look at another exam like an IIFT or a ZAT or a CMAT or a MHCET. Look at which of these other exams do not have this criteria and apply to them. Guys, at the end of the day, you want to become a manager. And there are a lot of good colleges. So don't waste your time crying about colleges that you cannot get into for various reasons. Think of what is the best option for me available. Always think about the best options available to you irrespective of how bad the situation is. Okay, I'm not saying be happy about the good options, but I'm saying the way a manager thinks is, yes, things have really gone bad. Agreed. I can't change the past, right? So do I get any benefit by worrying or crying about it? Absolutely not. So what is my responsibility now? You are a manager in your own life. You're supposed to take care of your life, right? So if that is a condition, then the best thing for you to do is, okay, now these things are bad, this is gone, fine. These colleges are gone. What is the next best available? I have 5 colleges available. Let me apply to these 5 which allow me to apply because they are meeting the criteria. Go ahead, apply them. That's the approach you need to take. Okay, this is called as pre-exam criteria. Let's call this as static criteria. So what are the static criteria? Your gender, your stream, that is your which college, which background are you from? Are you a commerce student, science student, engineering student, medical student? What student are you? What is the score that you got in various stages of your life? 10th class score, 12th class score, what score you got in your graduation? Typically these are the 3 scores they look at, and what amount of work experience you have. So let's call this data as static. Next, the second is the exam criteria, and I will call this as round 1 because typically almost all colleges, very few colleges call pre-exam criteria as round 1, but usually the normal slang or the normal terms they use is the exam criteria. The thing that is happening in the exam, the writing of the exam, is called as your round 1. If you go to many of these college websites, all the IIMs, the top IIMs, they talk about round 1 from the writing of the exam onwards. Okay, I've got a couple of questions. Harsh says, what about PGDM colleges? Harsh, PGDM and MBA. Let me give you the difference between these two, and the difference is none. Now, let us understand what is an MBA. MBA is a degree. Now, MBA is a degree, whereas PGDM is postgraduate diploma. What is the difference? Technical difference. The technical difference is a college which is accredited by AICTE and it fits into the norms of UGC can only award a degree. It's more about the technicality. Okay, if it is not accredited by AICTE, the college does not have the authority to give you a degree. That's all. Whereas a diploma can be given by any college, even if it is not accredited by AICTE. Now, what does it mean to you? If you look at almost all the IIMs and quite a few of the private colleges, they award you this PGDM diploma and it is not called as an MBA. You really didn't bother. I also didn't bother about this. Now, students get confused by looking at this PGDM and MBA and say that, sir, what is the difference? Actually, there is not. What matters to you is the brand. The brand is, let's say you get into an FMS, or you get into, let's say an XLRI, or you get into, let's say an IIM. Their flagship 2-year program, their main 2-year program, you call it MBA, you call it PGDM, you call it XYZ, I don't care. What matters is you did this 2-year program from these top universities. That is what matters. Do not bother about the name given to it, because that name in India is of no use. Yes, when you go abroad, then the diploma versus an MBA might be a difference, but in India, absolutely zero difference, guys. Okay, I hope that answers your questions, Harsh. Well, Vish Sailor, my friend, good college for marketing. Well, there is no such college which I'll say this is the best for marketing or this is the worst for marketing. There's nothing like that. Yes, among the good colleges for marketing, I can definitely think of any IIM, almost all the top IIMs, XLRI. I mean, I can't, see, the thing is, you're asking me who is a good batsman. It's like that. I can name 4 batsmen in every country. So I'll have something like 50, 60 batsmen currently, right? So please don't ask questions like which college is good for finance, which college is good for marketing. Guys, understand this. While colleges are known, they are known to be, this particular thing or this particular domain they are good at, does not mean that they are bad at others. So please look at it in this way. It's the brand over the discipline that matters. So if you, and this is my personal suggestion to all of you, if you have to decide between college versus specialization, always go with the college. But in MBA, it is not like that. Very few MBA colleges, in fact, except SP Jain, I don't think any other college will ask you to choose the specialization beforehand. Right? So that's not a problem at all, but it happens in your graduation, especially for IITs. You might write the IIT JEE exam and then say, okay, I got mechanical engineering XYZ college, I'm getting electrical engineering in ABC college, where should I go? So I would always say prefer the college over the degree, over the discipline. Okay? I hope that that answers your question to Wish Sailor. Okay, Suraj is asking, is Great Lakes PGPM a brand? Suraj, yes, it is a good brand, nothing wrong with it, but Great Lakes 1-year program is well known for work experience guys. It's the 1-year program which is more famous for them, not the 2-year program. Okay, in fact, let me put it this way, their 1-year program is more famous than the 2-year program. Whereas normally in all other colleges, the 2-year programs are more famous than the 1-year programs. Why MBA packages are higher than PGDM? Who told you this, Samir? I told you there is no difference between MBA and PGDM. So I don't know where you're getting this. MBA packages are higher. It's not true. Right? Because the top paying colleges are your IIMs and the top 3-4 private institutes. Some of them give MBA, some of them give PGDM degree. So you can't say this is better than that. They are almost equal. Okay? Well, let's move on to continue with the discussion on your round 1. So what happens in this round 1? So colleges, first they will make a list of all the students that satisfy the pre-exam criteria. So see, when you're writing CAT, and I don't know how many of you have written CAT before, but when you're writing CAT, you would apply to which colleges, or you'd be required to apply to colleges. So they will ask you, I am Ahmedabad, do you want to apply? I am Bangalore, do you want to apply? It is not automatically applied. You have to tick there. So when you are applying to a college, the intimation goes to the college that, okay, this student, so Srinivas has clicked on Ahmedabad. So Ahmedabad will know that Srinivas wants to apply to you. Now what Ahmedabad does is, it will make a list of all the students that apply to it. So let's say out of the 2 lakh people who write, 1,90,000 people apply to Ahmedabad. You might always ask, why did 10,000 people did not apply? Various reasons. Now, let's say 1,90,000 people apply to Ahmedabad. Now, what will Ahmedabad do? It will first make a list of, are they all eligible? So let me check the pre-exam criteria. It will check the criteria that it came up with and see how many of these 1,90,000 are actually eligible to apply to me. This is not even considering my CAT exam. So let us say out of this 1.9 lakh, about 30,000 are not eligible. So I will straight away throw them out as Ahmedabad. I will be left with only 1.6 lakhs. Now these 1.6 lakhs are eligible. Does not mean that they will get a call from me. They are just eligible. Now what happens? Anyway, all of them will write their CAT exam. All of them will write their CAT exam. Once you write the CAT exam, then out of these 1.6 lakhs, the people or the students who satisfy the minimum exam criteria will be considered. Now what is this minimum exam criteria? These are the minimum sectional cutoffs. Minimum sectional cutoffs that are officially published. So guys, please keep this in mind. There are 2 things. Official cutoff. This is minimum requirement. And the other is unofficial cutoff, which is the normal or expected. This is basically necessary. necessary requirement. This is necessary and sufficient. So what is this necessary requirement? Necessary requirement is again a minimum eligibility. So if you wrote CAT, let us say Calcutta, if I take IIM Calcutta, let us say they say that I need anybody who gets above 85 percentile. So out of this 1.6 lakh people, they will take only those students who get above 85 percentile and throughout the others. Which means 85 percentile means 15% of the students only. So out of this 1.9 lakhs or out of this 1.6 lakhs, let me take the people who got above 85 percentile only. So somewhere around 30 or 25,000 students will come into their criteria. People who got above their minimum requirement. But it does not mean, again remember, it does not mean that all of these guys will be called for an interview. I'm just saying that these people met the minimum requirement as far as CAT exam is concerned. Now what happens is, they will look at a cutoff which is necessary. This necessary cutoff is not officially published. What happens here is, they will take this 25,000 people and they create a composite score. What is this composite score? This composite score that is created in round 1 is dependent on 3 or 4 factors depending upon the college. The first factor is the exam score. The second factor is the static factor. So they will give you, in fact I have IIM Calcutta's exact example. I will show that later, but the basic idea for you to understand here is, you will be getting a composite score which is on basis of the CAT score you got, on your 10th class score, on your 12th class score, on your gender, on your work experience, and if you have a graduation. So some colleges might have graduation marks also, and so on and so forth. So all these static factors and your CAT score together will give you this composite score. So this composite score will be calculated for all these 25,000 people. Then what will they do? They will arrange them in descending order from the topper composite score to the least. And they will give the top few of these the interview calls. They will give the top few of these the interview calls. Okay. So how will they decide? How will they decide what is this few? Okay. So in this round 2, so to go to this round 2, which is basically your interview or WAT or your extempore group task, one or many of this could be a part of your interview. So how does anybody or how does a college decide how many students to call for the interview? Now this is dependent on yearly. So what is my batch strength? So let's take the example of IIM Calcutta. The IIM Calcutta batch strength is about 380 or 400. I don't remember exactly how much, something like this. Now historically they have been calling in the ratio. They know that if there are 400 seats for me to call, I will for interview I will call somewhere around 1200 students, 1:3 ratio. Now you might ask, how did they come up with this 1:3 ratio? Why not 1:4 or 1:5? The reason is very simple. Over the last few years, in fact last 2-3 decades, they've been doing this. They know if I have to give calls or finally get 400 students, how many students should I interview? Because not everybody interviewed will get selected, right? Because they will not like everybody. So historically they know that, okay, 2 out of 3 students will get rejected by me. That's normally the trend, which means if I want to find good 400, I have to take 3 times of that. So that's the calculation they have, and there's no exact science. It is all estimate. Again, estimate based on the data that they have. So they will come up with this number, and this number called 1200, 1:3 ratio or 1:4 ratio, 1:5 ratio, it all depends on college. For example, if you look at FMS, FMS has about 120 seats only, 120 or 140 seats, something like that. They go with a 1:10 ratio. They call 10 times the students. If you look at IIM Indore has about 450 students. They talk about 1:7 or 1:8 ratio. No, not even that. In fact, a lot more than that. 1:12 ratio, I think they go to. They call up to 6,000, 7,000 students for interview. So they call a lot of students. They used to call a lot of students. So that's basically based on their observation. So anyway, so they will come and say that, okay, in the previous thing when I explained this 25,000 students, they will take it in the descending order of the composite scores, and based on this number, they will give the top 1200 people or the top 1000 people or the top 5000 people the interview call. Now if you notice, these 25,000 people, the remaining, let's say I called 1000 people only, the remaining 24,000 people will not get a call. And only the top 1000 people will get the call, and the last student who gets, the least student who gets the CAT percentile, and among these 1000, the least CAT percentile will be called as the cutoff. So this is not published usually. It is not published because that keeps changing from year to year. As I said, it's a function of CAT plus static. So somebody with great static could get a call with a low CAT percentile, relatively low CAT percentile. So it is possible to get an IIM Calcutta call, technically speaking, at a 96 or 97 percentile also. It is possible, right? If things work in your favor. I'll talk about what things work in your favor. So as I said, depending upon your stream, depending upon your gender, depending upon your work experience, keeping all of these things in mind, your minimum requirement for CAT will keep changing for the particular college. Hence, they don't publish this data because that keeps changing year to year. And because when it is changing year on year, I cannot say that definitely anybody above this I'll take this year. Because if there are too many students with good static, then the CAT requirement will also go up because there are many students with good static. If there are very few students with good static, then the CAT requirement, minimum requirement will come down because not many students are having good static. So that way, it is not constant year on year. So now we are at round 2. So the top 1200 or 1000 or 4000 or 5000 people are called. Now these students will get into the round 2. So round 2, as I said, will be a function or will have your GDs, group interviews, WATs, personal interviews, extempore, you have your group task. Sometimes some colleges will have another exam also at this point. So the round 2 is a combination of one or more of these. During pandemic, many of the colleges basically said that I will have only interview and decide. But now, because the pandemic has subsided quite a bit, I'll not say it is gone. We still hear slowly the cases are increasing. I don't know what's going to happen in November, but as of now, we can expect that the CAT will be on time, and the March, April, the interviews will happen with your at least PI and your WAT in place. Okay, now what happens in your round 2? How is the calculation done in your round 2? So at the end of round 2, so you got a call. Let's say you are one of the 4,000 people or 2,000 people who got an interview call. So you go, you give your interview. Now, after the end of round 2, once again, a composite score is calculated. This composite score will have, once again, the static components. It will also have your round 1, which is your CAT exam score mark, and how you performed in your round 2. These three things together will be combined, and you will be getting a composite score. Once again, this is called as a second composite score, and this is created obviously for only the people who got the call. So the people who got the call will be getting the composite score based on your static round 1, that is your CAT score, as well as your round 2 performance. Based on that, a final merit list will be created. So out of this 1200 students, or out of this, let's take the example of FMS. If I take the example of FMS, they give out about 1200 calls for 120 seats. Now in this 1200, they will create this composite score based on these three factors, and then they say, okay, I have 120 seats only. I have only 120 seats to fill. Now, historically, I know if I give offer, now remember, I have to decide how many to give offer. So I will arrange these 1200 in the descending order. Now, how many should I call here? All of them gave interview. All of them got some composite score. Yes, some got more, some got less. But how many should I call from this? That depends on what they observed over the last few years. How many people whom I called rejected my call? For example, somebody got an FMS, usually they will also are the people who get a call from an MDI or SP Jain or an Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Calcutta. They are students who get multiple calls. So FMS is a top-notch college for sure, but yet people prefer an Ahmedabad or a Bangalore or a Calcutta over an FMS. So there are people who get into these three colleges and not take FMS. So keeping all that into account and based on history, the previous history, they will decide, okay, if I have to give or get 120 students, I will give another 300 extra. So they will give, let's say, 150 actual calls and probably another 300 or 270 waiting list, or probably 600 waiting list, whatever, that waiting list will be there. So they will give, let's say, half of them. Total 600 will be given a waiting list or a confirmation, the other 600 are rejected. So there will probably be 150 or 160 of them who are given direct offer, and the rest of them will be put on waiting list. So this is where the students will start waiting. The, you know, out of this 120, let's say out of the 150 people who are being given the direct offer, let us say rank number 3 guy left. So the waiting list will move up. It's just like your railway waiting list. Nothing, there's no difference here. So a lot of students will quit FMS and go to other options which is available to them. Therefore, this 300 waiting list might also get converted. Now, we will have a separate session on waiting list movements and all. I'm just using this as an example. Please don't go quote saying that Srinivas has said waiting list 300 will be converted in FMS. It is not. I've just used this as an example. Okay, so this is how your round 2 finishes. Okay, so this waiting list is based on your historic data, based on how the waiting list or how many students have rejected FMS despite getting an offer. That is true for every college. Every college has their own calculations. They work it out like this. So let's take an example of one college example today. IIM Calcutta. I'll take another session where I will actually discuss this for every college in the top 20 ranks. Okay, but right now we are going to wrap up the session by understanding whatever we discuss, the theory that we discuss, using one proper example, because that's my habit. Whenever I talk about some theory, I always give some examples so that you understand it properly. So I'm taking IIM Calcutta. These are all actual numbers, okay, taken from the website. So if you look at the criteria, and this is for last year criteria, 2021 CAT, that is admission academic year 2022 to 24, this academic year. So what did they publish? They said that the pre-exam criteria is for a student to be considered, into IIM Calcutta, you should have X% of marks in bachelor's degree. What is this X? 50% if you are a general category student, 45% if you are a SC, ST or PWD student. So the requirement, the pre-exam requirement or the eligibility criteria is you should score at least 50%. So if you are from general category and you got a 40%, straight away, even before writing CAT exam, your Calcutta is ruled out because they will not take you. Because when they sought the students, when they're saying that, okay, I want to take only students who got above 50%, there itself, without even looking at the CAT score, you are rejected. All right. So that's your pre-exam criteria. And final year or so your bachelor, you should either be in the final year of bachelor's degree or you should have completed it. If you are in the second year, you can write the CAT exam, but you will not get a call from your IIM Calcutta because they will not give calls to people who are in the second year or in the second year of a 4-year degree or the first year of a 3-year degree. So you should be basically in your final year when you're writing this particular exam. Okay, that's when IIM Calcutta will consider you. These are the basic criteria. Once this criteria is met, you will go to round 1. Round 1, Calcutta says, look, I need students who score above 80 percentile only. In your English, 80 in your LRDI and 75. For some reason, they bring maths down. The basic requirement for maths is only 75 percentile, and not just that, overall also is 85. So I will look at only the students. So in the example, out of 2 lakh people, let us say 1.9 lakh people are meeting the Calcutta's requirement. Now all these people anyway go ahead and write the CAT exam. Out of these 1.9 lakh people, I will check how many of them are meeting these 3 under the general category. Similarly, I will look at how many of them are meeting these categories under or these requirements under EWS. How many are meeting these categories or this requirement under NCOBC. So that way, category wise, I will split this 1.9 lakh students category wise, students who meet my basic exam requirement. So I will probably have 70,000 students in general, probably 35,000 students in NCOBC, and so on and so on. I'll make separate list for every category. This is my step 2. So this is my CAT score. Now what will I do? I will now go to calculating my composite score. So this is the composite score calculation which is given on the website of Calcutta, and let's take a look at what happens here. It's very interesting and sometimes kind of demotivating for guys also. I'll tell you why. So if you look at the CAT 2021, so this is what I mentioned. The weightage is 56%, or rather it is 56 out of 85. Okay, I'll explain to you what it means. So what they say is, whatever you score, so A here, A by B into 56 is, A is the score you got in CAT, B is the maximum mark. So if you got a 99 percentile, you would have got close to 97 marks in CAT 21. So 97 out of total marks. So remember, there were 66 questions, 3 marks each. That was 198. So you got 97 by 198, this percentage of marks. So into 100, because it's a percentage. Remember, this is percentile. This is percentage. There's a difference between the two. I hope you know the difference. So this is the percentage you got. Of this percentage, I will take only 56 portions of it. So if I take this, so 97 by 198 into 100, they will do into 56 or into 56. So that's the weightage. So weightage means 56 by 85. Okay, so this is what is called as a weightage. So 56 out of 85. So out of 85 portions, 56 is the weight I'm giving to this particular score. So they will calculate this score. Keep it aside. Similarly, if you are in 10th class, or not in 10th class, when you finish your 10th class, you will be getting a score. So that score will be given a weight of 10. So whatever your 10th score, your marks of 10th into 10 out of 85. Now what is this part? It is not your actual score in maths. There is a table which they provide, which I will show you in the next slide. Based on the table, there will be a number of points. So let's call this as points. So based on your 10th class score, some points will be given to you. Of that points, you will be getting 10 by 85. Then similarly for your 12th class marks, based on your 12th class marks, they will be giving you few points. So out of those points, so your points into 15 by 85. Okay, in fact, what they did last year very easily was, because this multiplication is becoming difficult for people to understand, what they just basically did is, they gave finally, in fact, if I'll show you the next table, what they basically said is, look, if you got above 10 points, if you got above 80% in your 10th class, don't do any multiplication, straight away take this 10. So this 10, you'll get full 10. If you notice, this you'll get full 10 if you are greater than or equal to 80% in your 10th class. Similarly, in your 12th class, if you're getting above 80%, then you'll get full 15. So let me take an example of yours truly. Let us say I got 81% in my 10th. I got 87.1% in my 12th. I know it's pretty bad. And I'm also thankful that I finished my MBA a decade ago, because today if I write, none of the top IIMs will even touch me because my scores are so bad. So which means, as far as Calcutta is concerned, I will get full 10 here, I'll get full 15 here. So 10 plus 15 is already there. Let us say I got a 99 percentile. So 97 out of 198 into 100. So what I'll get is 97 by 198 into 100. And in this, I'll get 56 by 85. Okay, 56 portions out of 85 portions. Now this 10 and this 15 portions I'm getting fully. Why am I getting fully? Because I meet their requirement. If you look at the table here, depending upon your 10th and 12th, you will be getting either full 10 marks and full 15 marks, or accordingly the scores will keep changing. So somebody has got 79%. You will be getting 8 and you will be getting 12. So you will be missing 2 points here and you will be missing 3 points here. Totally 5 points are lost. Okay, but anyway, so that's how the calculation is done. Then gender diversity, here I'll be getting 0. I'm male. Fortunately, unfortunately, that 4 marks are straight away gone for me. So what is my composite score? My composite score will be this much. If you can, take a quick calculator, calculate and, let me know the number. So this is basically 25 plus 97. 97, let's say this goes approximately 2 times 94, 194, right? That's okay, fine. So 2 goes 50 times. So 50 into 56 by 85. How much would this be? Whatever. 50 into 56 by 85. So whatever this score is, this will be called as my composite score. Similarly, composite score of everybody else will be calculated. And if you notice, the important part is all the women will get extra 4 marks. That is the advantage they are given to all the women folk. Okay, so it's because they want more and more women to come into this MBA stream. Right now the percentage is still less. Still it's 70% male and 30% or 35% only female. So they want it to increase. Hence they are encouraging by giving extra marks for women. But again, guys, don't feel unhappy. The reason is very simple. You are competing. Think of it like this. You are competing amongst the men. Women are separate. So don't say that they are taking away or why are they getting my extra advantage or why are they getting my seat. It isn't like that. Think of it that the college anyway wants 35% women. So it's reserved for women. Think of it like that. Anyway, so yes, 4 marks will not be given to me. 4 marks will be given extra to my women peer. Okay, so that will be my level 1 composite score. So once I get this, let's say if I am in the list of students who made the top 1200 in their list based on the composite score, I will be getting my interview call. Let us say I go to the interview, give my interview well, I write my WAT, I wrote it well. Then they will make the second composite score based on. Now, what is it that they do in the second round? So this is what they have declared last year. CAT score this time only 30% weightage. Personal interview 48% weightage. Points awarded for academic diversity. This is interesting. For non-engineering degree, I will get 0 here because I'm an engineer. Whereas any non-engineer straight away will get 4 marks. Okay. Then work experience 8 marks. What is work experience? Depending upon your months. You can see over here. In fact, I think I'm blocking some part of it. So you can see points if you are less than 12 months. So 8 months, 9 months, just started working, no marks. If you are above 1 year to 1.5 year, 2 marks. In fact, the peak happens at 2.5 to 3 years point. So after that, the peak will again, it starts decreasing. It starts decreasing. And this is not the case with all the colleges. For example, if I remember Bangalore correctly, they follow the same till here, and after this, it is the same for everybody. So they say that look, 3 or above, it's the same for me. Whereas Calcutta follows this structure of increasing and then decreasing. Okay, but anyway, different colleges have different criteria. So based on that, you will get points for your work experience. So what happens? What do they do here? They will once again look at your score. So 30 out of 90. Into CAT score, so 97 out of 198 into 100 plus, then there's a personal interview, 48 out of 90. Now how much percentage? So let's say personal interview is for 100%. Out of that, how many marks did I get? So let us say I got a 60% in my interview score. So 60 into plus, now straight away here points. Am I from an engineering degree? Yes, unfortunately for me it is 0. Then they'll go look at work experience. What is my work experience? If I apply right now, I'll be above 48. So I'll get only 2. And then this will be called as my composite score for round 2. Based on this, they will now make a list of students in the descending order of the scores. And based on this, they will be giving the final offers, which also includes the waiting list. Every college has a waiting list simply because nobody can exactly predict how many students will reject me. So based on their understanding over the last 5 years, 4 years trend, they will see how many extra should I give and keep them under waiting list. And that is how, my friends, your entire selection process happens for MBA colleges. I have taken IIM Calcutta as an example. I will take up another session where I will discuss all the colleges separately. So there, this theory will help you. If you have already gone through this video, it will really help you for that particular one. Okay. Now, what should you do now? Can you do something to help you? Now, that's an interesting question. Just prepare for your exam, because what are the things that are going to affect you? Your 10th class score. Can you do anything about it? No. 12th class score. Can you do anything about it? No. Graduation. Yes, if you have already graduated, it's out of your hand. If you are in college, my dear friend, make sure that you spend the best amount of time and get the maximum possible score, because your graduation score matters. 20 LPA from Simsri. Ayush, you have to be in the top 2 or 3 students. Then it is possible. It is possible, but you have to be absolutely the top 5. Okay. Yes, so that's, if you're in graduation, then yes, focus on getting a very good graduation score. Otherwise, continue your preparation for your exam. Okay. Do not quit your job. And I'm repeating this, guys. Do not. Please don't quit your job. It's one of the most pathetic things you can do. The only exception, there's only one exception under which I will say quit your job. That is, if you are giving this CAT for the last time. This is the last attempt and you decided that come what may, you will join whatever college you get into. If that is the criteria, and this could be a decision by many of you for various reasons. Some of you might be touching that 4-year experience point. Some of you might say that, okay, I don't have, or I have my family obligations, so I can't keep preparing, I can't keep my future hanging forever. So whatever reason it is, if you decided that this is your last CAT exam, only under that circumstances, I would say probably, I will not say guarantee, I'll say probably you can think of quitting your job. Otherwise, please don't. Okay. And the other thing is, don't worry about what type of a job. Are you a coder? Are you a trainer? Are you a security guard somewhere? I really don't care. What matters is, are you having a work experience or not? That's all. So don't worry about the type of job. Yeah, the only way in which, or the only reason why you should worry about the type of job is if your job requirement is not giving you Saturday, Sunday also. For example, if you are in typically sales, Saturday and Sunday also will be taken away from you, because if you are into retail sales especially, B2B sales, usually weekends are still fine for you. But if you are into retail sales, Saturday, Sunday will also be snatched away from you. If you are in such kind of a role, probably switching makes sense. I will not say quit. Switching makes sense. Getting into a job which is slightly less taxing. Okay, but make sure that whatever it is, unless you are fitting into the criteria that I just mentioned in terms of job ending the 4-year period or coming nearer to the 4-year experience period, don't quit your job. You also don't have to worry about switching the job unless and until the job is very taxing. Okay, and yes, if you're in college, maximize your scores. Okay. Now, what if you don't fit some criteria? Now, I already discussed this, in fact, at the beginning itself. If for some reason you fall short on any criteria, pre-exam criteria itself, that is not the end of the world. CAT is just one exam. There is a ZAT, there is an IFT, there is an NMAT, there is a SNAP, there is a CMAT, there is a MHCT, there is an ATMA. There are lots and tons of exams. There is a TISNET. So many exams, guys. Do not lose hope if you are not fitting the criteria of one of the exams. There are a lot of exams out there with different criteria. Figure out which exams you can take and write and prepare for those. Alright. Well, we at BYJU'S have started live training for CAT 22 students. If you are really interested in this, please call onto our counselors on this number. We'll be glad to help you out. I hope this session has been informative to you, my friends. If you really liked, please click on the like button as well as leave a comment for me so that I can take more sessions like this for you. If you have any improvements, if you feel that I should have covered something else, let me know in your comments. Okay. Okay, I have before I wind up, I have few questions coming over here. Let me take them up. Joining Great Lakes is good, or should I start preparing for next time? Good consulting companies like Accenture, Strategy, etc. come over there. Suraj, it all depends on what have you prepared in the last time. So guys, in fact, I have taken another session on should you repeat or join. In fact, I have this session coming up in the next 1 or 2 weeks also. The basic thumb rule is very simple. If your CAT score is what you deserve to get. Now, how do you know what you deserve to get? Simple. Take the last 4 mocks or the last 5 mocks. Look at the average. If that is matching your CAT percentile, then that is what you deserve. High, bad, low, doesn't matter. Based on the preparation, that is what you get. Now, the first thing is, if you got what you deserve and based on that percentile you're getting the best colleges, Great Lakes, then yes, take it. But before you take it, second question you need to ask. Now, while you got what you deserved, the second question is, could you have done better than it? Let's say you got a 95 percentile in CAT, because that is what the amount of effort you put. So you put effort for 95 percentile, you got 95 percentile. If you did not get 95 percentile, yes, you'll not be happy because you are expecting it, you did not get it, it's not what you deserve. Fine. But if you got it, fine. The second question you need to ask is 95 my best? Are you happy with the effort you put in? If you are happy, if you say that, okay, this is the best effort and the best result, go ahead and join. If you feel that I wasted my time, I could have studied more, I started last 3 months only, had I had 3 more months, 6 months preparation, I could have got a 99. If such a feeling exists, talk to one of your mentors, and I would recommend in such a case, go for a repeat. Either way, ensure that you are not idle, you are working. Alright? Well, I hope that clarifies your question quite a bit. Ayush, I'm sorry, Suraj. Right, guys, thank you for my friends. I hope you guys enjoyed this session. See you in the next one.